from your legacy system. BODS will take the data. All the massage of the data will happen here. It's not like that everything BODS is a magic stick and it will do everything automatically, not like that. There is a BODS team, there are the BODS consultants, and your functional consultant need to work with the BODS consultant to give the requirement that what mappings need to happen, what validation we need to put, how the massage of the data need to happen, how the data cleansings can be done. BODS has a inbuilt applications which help to enrich the data quality. Okay, the data quality can be enriched, the address can be corrected, duplication can be removed by checking the addresses. A lot of standard algorithms are there in BODS, and on top of that, we can also put our business logics and validations. And with those business logics and validation, BODS will make sure the data get converted from legacy data into the data which can be accepted by S/4HANA. And then it sends the data to S/4HANA. And the data goes in through BOPs and function modules. There is one more approach which is used with the HANA Migration Cockpit also. HANA Migration Cockpit, I have explained you the approach where basically we will be uploading the data from the Excel sheets, right? Now, HANA Migration Cockpit has one more thing. Let's say if this is my HANA, the approach called staging table approach. In that one, what BODS would be doing is moving a data into the staging tables. Staging table is what table? Is a temporary table which will be created in the HANA database itself. So rather than moving directly to the BOPs and functional modules, BODS can move it to the staging table. You can see a temporary table for Mara. All database tables would be having a temporary table for Mara, temporary table for Mark. In that tables, temporary tables would be created and the data would be moved to the staging tables. Okay. And then your HANA Migration Cockpit, the front end, you would be able to see what data has been called into the staging tables. You would be able to call the data in this HANA Migration Cockpit. You would be able to do the validations. If extra mappings are required, you would be able to put the extra mappings in the HANA Migration Cockpit. And the trigger to load the data can be done from the HANA Migration Cockpit. And with that, the data will go into by using BOPs, standard BOPs and function modules, the data would go into your permanent tables, Mara table, Mark table. This is called the staging table approach. The staging table approach can be used on the same HANA databases, and sometime a separate HANA database is created where the data would be moved to the staging tables, and further simulations of the data, whether it can go correctly into the S/4HANA or not, would be done. That simulation of the data would be done through the HANA Migration Cockpit. So we give a front end of HANA Migration Cockpit where the user would be able to see how many number of records are there. If they want to do any validations, they would be able to do the validations. If extra mappings are required, they would be able to do it. And they have a control that, okay, out of this data, BODS brought 50,000 line items. These particular 5,000 line items, I want to bring it to my S/4HANA. So user would be able to manually trigger the 5,000 line items and bringing them into the S/4HANA. So that additional control you will be getting it. In HANA Migration BODS approach, all the data will directly come from the BODS, all the data would be validated, and all the data with the BOPs and functional modules would be directly punched into the S/4HANA system. Which approach we use more? As of now, this is the approach which is using more. Directly from BODS to S/4HANA, where the BODS is used. BODS would not be there in each and every project. BODS would be there in the project which is big project, large scale projects, MNCs who can afford BODS. Because BODS would be a separate infrastructure, BODS is a separate tool, separate license, separate consultants who would be working on to the BODS, and a separate data stream will start as soon as your project starts. From the design phase itself, we need to work with the BODS consultant because they also need time to build the things into the BODS. There would be build of the validations and everything in the BODS. So they also require a time to build, to test, so that by the time we come for the dress rehearsal or cutover, our tools are ready, right? So that is a BODS approach. What I recommend, I definitely, wherever I go, I recommend BODS. Why I recommend BODS? Because it makes sure that the number of data errors are reduced by BODS, and the automations can be built. What we use, as what I have used, I have around 60% of the projects. It's very clear and straightforward. A small company with a limited budget and which has one or two waves where the data need to be uploaded, we have used BOD. We have used directly the HANA Migration Cockpit, LSMWs, those tools. Big project where the project will go for 6, 7, 8 years, multiple countries, one by one, we need to take the data, load the data, take the data. So you see that, okay, one-time effort when you will be putting for one country, those all logics can be used again with the little modifications. Then you can get a benefit that the number of resources which will be used for the working on the data would be less, and the quality of the data also would be more. Okay. If the company has a budget, if the BODS can fit in the timeline, I always recommend for the BODS, Business Object Data Services, a specific tool from SAP to handle the data, but it's quite technical in nature. So it requires a separate training, and separate BODS consultants are there who handle BODS. I have quickly explained you BODS because when you'll be going into the projects, different tools you might need to handle. So BODS is one of the two. So with this explanation, you should be very clear कि भैया BODS क्या है and what BODS does.